as we say every single, especially cold Monday morning, it is a vibe. What is up, nerds? Wow. Voice breaks, congestion, I'm freezing, my hands are cold. What is up, nerds? It's me, your buddy, pal, Hey Archer. Welcome back to Nerdy Coffee here on Nerd Affiliated. I'm just going to grab my coffee cup here and just warm my hand on this cold Monday morning. Your weekly Monday morning show where we sit back, relax, enjoy, especially today, a nice hot cup of brew. Oh, talk about the news. So good. Tastes so good today. Thank you all for being here, especially on this holiday morning, this very special holiday morning. I hope that all of you can spend some time with your family. Hope that you can relax. And thank you to the legend himself for everything he did for us. I'll talk about that after the intro. I usually do that every single MLK day. But if you have a YouTube channel, podcast, blog, OnlyFans, newsletter, smoke signals, whatever it may be, put it in the chat. Support one another. Plug yo shits. We have a loaded episode. I've talked about a couple of these things already, but why not? We'll talk about it again in the official news show of Nerd Affiliated, where this mic keeps falling. I got to figure out a way how to tighten this thing. It's killing me. Absolutely killing me. But good day to all of you today. I normally don't hit the, I don't usually hit the applause on Nerdy Coffee, but today we do that. I say this every year. Every year when we happen to do a stream on MLK Day. I say it in a post, usually later on in the day. But very special day. People like Martin Luther King and others paved the way for a lot of us to have the ability to not only just be here, but to stream like this. And I can go get a job like anybody else, and I can marry who I have married, and all sorts of things. So very special day. I always appreciate it, and hope that all of you can appreciate it as well. And like I said, hopefully you can enjoy your family, enjoy some downtime, just chill. But hopefully not literally chill, because it is that kind of day. It is that kind of day. Let's say hi to everybody in the chat. Rolando in the house, good to see ya. JB in the house, good to see ya. Hey, Chavez in the house, good to see ya. He says, how cold is it in Boston? It's minus 12 in Austin? What? We're at 24 right now. Minus 12? Are you serious? That is insane. That is insane. Rolando doing the Lord's work and sharing everybody's stream, or channel, I should say. I love that. Love that. Well, just to get the good old plugs out of the way. If you guys are new here, don't forget to head over to nerdaffiliated.com, your one-stop shop for links to all the shows. You can find our donation button. You can find the button to join the Nerd Foundation. And, of course, the audio podcast. But if you need to warm yourself up, you want some cool shirts, some cool hoodies, you can head to the Nerd Affiliated store and grab some dope merch. Support your boys. Help keep them warm. But we're also on Instagram, Nerd Affiliated. We're on, I keep messing the name up because we're on X, aka Twitter, on Nerd Affiliated. We're on TikTok, Nerd_affiliated. We're on Reddit, Nerd Affiliated, and Discord, where there's a link, I believe, on the YouTube the home screen for Discord. So you can join that. Oh, and there's a link down below for Discord as well. So many ways for you to interact with us and join the conversations and give us ideas and all that fun stuff. Now, I'll address one thing before we get rolling into the news, and that is the monetization push. So thank you all who have been watching the videos, sharing the videos, liking the videos, resharing the posts, all that stuff, as we make that big push once again to get remonetized. And it's hard. It is hard. Just to give you an idea of how it works. YouTube will say for you to monetize, make money on the ads, and of course, be able to have channel memberships and all that stuff, you have to do two things. 1, 1,000 subscribers. 2, 4,000 watch hours. So people need to watch 4,000 hours of your content in the last 365 days. So for a lot of us creators, usually the watch hours is the hardest part to hit. Over time, you get subscribers, you grow your community. It's great. It's awesome. Love it. The watch hours, though, where it can really screw you up. If you have a real bomb video that you put out and eventually that video loses steam, it actually hurts the watch hours. Here's why. Because a couple of people asked me, so that's why I'm doing this. So let's say that today, right? Let's say today we had 1,000 watch hours. Let's say we put out something that was so cool, everybody was watching it. We got 1,000 hours of views on the channel. Wonderful, great. But let's say 366 days ago, I put out a video that had 2,000 watch hours. People watched it, 2,000 hours worth of views on that video. When YouTube's looking at the calendar year, I didn't just gain 1,000 watch hours. I, in a way, lost 1,000 watch hours, because those 2,000 that would have been 365 days ago, now that it's 366, those are off the counter. And now we're just doing what we have today. So that's what's been going on. Once again, the Jason David Frank video is what blew the channel up. So now that is beyond the year, we're almost like fighting the popularity of the videos that came out about Jason David Frank and like the residual views that came out. So that's what's going on. We'll get there. Again, appreciate the support. Continue to watch the videos, share the streams, all that fun stuff, and we'll get there. Did it once, we can do it again. That is my take. The man collects in the house. Good to see ya. And Rolando sharing his channel. Awesome. Also, don't forget, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and hit the bell to get notified when new videos and live streams come about. All right. We're going to jump into nerd news. And, one other thing. Right now, I have not been doing the what's coming up and what we've been watching segments of Nerdy Coffee. We were doing those pre-writer strike, pre-actor strike. We haven't done it post, merely for the flow of the show. I'm enjoying doing, and I think you guys are as well, I'm enjoying the more conversational parts of the news segments. And by adding in those 2 additional segments, I feel like the show may go too long, or I have to rush through the news faster. So for now, I'm keeping those 2 segments out of the show, but I may still drop a nugget at the end if there's time. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk. All right, first bit of news. I think I talked about it last week. I don't fully remember, but just in case, it was announced that we're getting a Mandalorian movie. And the internet went crazy. Everybody went absolutely wild about this. And much like, last week it was the DVDs. That's what it was. Much like the DVD story, where Best Buy's weaning out DVDs, no longer doing it anymore, I thought we all knew there was a Mandalorian movie coming out. Like, I thought that was public knowledge and accepted, I guess. But people were surprised. Disney made this press release here. The Mandalorian and Grogu are embarking on a new adventure to the movie theaters. Directed by Jon Favreau and produced by Favreau, Kathleen Kennedy, and Dave Filoni, The Mandalorian and Grogu will go into production in 2024. I have loved telling stories set in the rich world that George Lucas created, says Favreau. The prospect of bringing the Mandalorian and his apprentice Grogu to the big screen is extremely exciting. And then, of course, has to jump in. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have ushered into Star Wars 2 new and beloved characters, and this new story is a perfect fit for the big screen, said Kathleen Kennedy, president of Lucasfilm. You know, we've talked ad nauseum about Kathleen Kennedy, about the brand as a whole at this point. So all I will say is, I think if they really wanted to get people like hyped and almost forget about all the past discretions, don't even put Kathleen's name in it. Just leave it out. Just say Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, they're making this. And then when the movie comes out, when the credits roll at the end, executive produced Kathleen Kennedy. Throw it in there. But saying it in advance, it's like, why? Why? But I do feel like, she doesn't think she's the problem. And I think the people around that camp, because they all don't want to lose their jobs, don't relate to her that she's the problem. And she may not actually be the greatest problem, right? It could be the story team. It could be her bosses. So many different pieces are part of this puzzle where, in actuality, Kathleen may not be the greatest problem, but public perception is that she is the problem. So why put her name in it? Like seeing that on there is not going to be like, oh, sweet. You know, it's just dumb. It's just dumb. So is what it is. I think this movie has the chance to get us excited about Star Wars again, but I know they'll ruin it. And the reason I say it has a chance is The Mandalorian, Obi-Wan. Those are two properties that were supposed to be movies that they were like, we're going to make shows out of them. Again, it's all about streaming, subscriptions, keeping people on the platform month after month. So you took one idea, turned it into two properties. Actually, one idea turned it into three properties: Mandalorian, Obi-Wan, and then Boba Fett, because Boba Fett was actually supposed to be Mandalorian, but the rumors there were they were trying to not use any more legacy characters. So he created the Mandalorian. But really, it was one story turned into three different things, three different shows, when it should have been maybe one movie. So we shall see. JB says, I can't wait as long as Jack Black and Lizzo are watching it and not in it. There you go. It's funny. I didn't take as much offense to that episode. I think at that point I was like, all right, it's a different kind of universe or different kind of planet, and whatever. The episode was still stupid. Still wasn't a great episode. And the acting on Lizzo's part was okay. Jack Black was Jack Black. It's hard to hate Jack Black as a person. So I have a hard time hating him on screen. Neither person did anything spectacular there. A highlight in a way was Christopher Lloyd was there. That was a nice surprise. People often forget to mention that. Christopher Lloyd was the villain in that episode. But the plot was stupid. The action was kind of stupid. I didn't take it as offense because I was like, everything so far has been stupid in that season. So, morning, Dave. Good to see you. All right. Heading into, we'll go into more movie news. This one hurts. Hang on. Another swig here. This one really hurt the soul. Top Gun 3 is in development with Maverick director attached and multiple stars reportedly set to return. All right. Really torn here. Tom Cruise is the last great action star. One would say Tom Cruise is the last great action hero. If I'm to pull a line from Yoda to say, no, there is another, maybe it would be Alan Ritchson. That's my pick. But Tom Cruise, the last great action star. And Tom Cruise, for the most part, does not put out trash, right? I think we can all agree there. There were some L's, right? Maybe the first Reacher, people didn't really like that he played Reacher. But there are people who like the movie. I still haven't seen it. It's on my list. The Mummy, haven't seen it. A lot of people didn't like it. But aside from that, Tom Cruise usually hits. When Top Gun 2 was announced and came out, or was on its way out, they were dropping all sorts of like behind the scenes and, interviews and whatnot. And one of the things Tom Cruise said was Top Gun 2 couldn't have happened years ago. It was the technology wasn't there and a story wasn't there yet. So it took all that time to get us to Top Gun 2. Top Gun 2 comes out, much like Ghostbusters Afterlife. It's nostalgia done right, where it pays homage to the previous. There are some returning hits. The storyline, and it's funny, I saw the movie, loved the movie, and not until somebody brought it up that I realized, oh, the mission is Star Wars New Hope. The final action segments, Tom Cruise doing Tom Cruise. Credits roll, good time. We're sealed. Job is done. But Hollywood's going to Hollywood, and now they want to go into a third one. I have faith that if Tom Cruise does it, it can be good, but like enough's enough. I think when it comes to this, enough is enough. There's no need for another movie. 2 movies, perfect sequel thing. It's the Back to the Future thing. Like, do not continue. Stop. Just stop where you are and let it be. The only glimmer of hope I have is Tom Cruise. If Tom Cruise is controlling it, maybe. But I feel like this is completely unnecessary. Sources indicate that Top Gun Maverick director Joseph Kosinski, or Kosinski, however you pronounce it, will return to helm the follow-up, with the sequel's co-writer Aaron Kruger also returning to write the script, as first reported by Puck, because that's a website, which Kosinski would direct and produce. Per both publications, Tom Cruise would reunite with Maverick stars Miles Teller and Glenn Powell in the threequel. Never heard threequel before. Teller played Son of Goose, Maverick's late wingman, in sequel Maverick, with Powell playing the arrogant student at Top Gun. Way back in July 2022, Teller said that he'd been having some conversations with Cruise about a follow-up. There's no word yet if other Maverick stars, which include the likes of John Hamm, Jennifer Connelly, and Danny Ramirez, will return for the threequel. I get the striking while the iron's hot motto, but yeah, I don't see it. I feel like there's just absolutely no purpose for this. Dave says, Tom Cruise the greatest? No. I mean, he's good, but great? I don't know. Hot take, I know. So the reason I say that is one, well, actually, let me go back. We're talking total package, right? Stars in it, produces, does his own stunts. I'm sure he does have some stunt people that help from time to time, but for the most part, he does his own stunts. Because of the three, he's getting the action star kind of title in my eyes. Similar to a Jackie Chan, right? Jackie Chan, people would say he was a GOAT. Sorry, a GOAT action star back in the day. He was a star, produced, did his own stunts. But I think as time has gone on, Tom Cruise is almost showing that age is just a number because he just keeps rolling. And the quality of every movie continues to be high. Say what you will about Mission Impossible. I know there's some people who actually didn't like it, but the production quality, the action, the spectacle of it all, you don't feel like you're watching green screen every 30 seconds. Tom Cruise, to me, is GOAT. He is the greatest action star of all time. There are people who have been in better movies, but if we're talking a total package, Tom Cruise at the moment. Lenny in the house, good to see you. He says, Vin Diesel. If you're returning the people who made it good, it's got to give you a little bit of new hope. Yes, but are we doing a Iron Man 2 here? Are we doing a Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze here? Where the studio is like, all right, you made money, we need the next one. Sorry, we need the next one. Give it to us now. All right, well, we need time. We got to write the story, figure out the technology. Nope. We need it now. The writer strike, the actor strike, hurt our pockets. People are not in the theaters. We need them back in the theaters. Give me the movie now. That's what I think will hurt the movie. If that wasn't a factor, if Tom Cruise could literally take his time and the directing team and all of them could take their time, maybe I'd feel a little bit better. But I know what's happening here because we've seen it so many times. So many times. Another one that came to my head, The Hobbit. The Hobbit movies. 3 movies. The book is maybe 1 movie worth of material. 3 movies. We were just talking about it with Kathleen Kennedy. 1 story. 3 TV shows. They don't have the ability to just like let it sit, let it marinate, and let's make sure it's done right. They cannot do that. Because of that, I'm concerned. He's definitely a Hollywood powerhouse. He's got charisma, does a lot of his own stunts, and an amazing producer, hands down. So why would he not be the greatest action star? So we're getting 8 more Top Gun movies. And they're all about family. They are all about family. When it comes to Top Gun, need some more realistic storylines. What else can they do without highlighting the hot spots in the world? That's another thing, too. It's a different day and age, right? Hollywood makes a lot of their money on the international side of things. You can no longer make a movie where, like, straight up, the Russians are the bad guys. Straight up, China is the bad guy. Like, you can't really do that anymore. Sorry to say. So right now, the last one, they were like, oh, undisclosed location. We can't tell you, blah, 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 just to get over that hump. The third one, what are we going to do? Like random countries sending jets? Or are we going to do stealth again, where it's them versus an AI jet? Like, very limited places we can go here. And that was the concern going into part 2. Going into part 2, everybody was wondering, we have the greatest Air Force in the country. And hell, the Air Force isn't even the greatest. It's the Navy Air Force that's the greatest or the largest. So we're like, who on earth are they going to fight? And it's like, oh, they're actually shooting a vent in the ground to a bunker. You know? I don't think it's worth it. I do not think it's worth it. JB says China, Russia, Middle East, Africa, Korea. Yeah. All traditional villains when you think of the 80s when it comes to like country villains. But like you can't really do that anymore. Like no country wants to be seen in a bad light because they all think they're not bad people. And at the same time, we send our movies overseas. They send their movies to us. It's a two-way street. You can't do that anymore. But I could be wrong. All right. So next up, I wish I saved the pictures. Well, I think I do, but it's on my phone. I didn't save it on the computer. But NECA last week, or 2 weeks ago, I think at this point, announced they were doing a Vault drop Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern. And it got us all excited. They're bringing back some figures that have been gone for a while, and it's our chance to buy them again at retail. So 12 p.m. rolls around, we all hit refresh, and it's stuff I didn't really think anybody wanted. We got 3 alien figures, one of them being Ramirez, I think was her name. 2 aliens, and then we got a Django like 6-pack of figures that went for a couple thousand, I believe, and there's only like 6 of them. Those sold out right away. I don't know who bought those, but it was only 4 things or 4 sets, and it was a 24-hour window. I didn't refresh on Tuesday to see what was still there, but I know there was not a lot of enthusiasm. I didn't hear anybody talking about it. So hopefully today's release is a little bit more exciting. Again, I'm thinking at some point Turtle 4-packs would be there, or the Turtle movie 2-packs. Maybe those go on there because they started producing those again and they were ending up in Walmart. So we shall see. But last week, not a good drop. Hoping this week is better. Dave's Dimensions saying, shooting into a vent in a bunker. That was Iron Eagles 2. There you go. JB says the ops on that mission made many of us laugh. Yeah. I was so into the movie, I didn't even like. I almost like turned the critiquing off, and it wasn't until I left and somebody was like, "Man, that was funny how they just did New Hope all over again." And I was like, "Ah, you're right, yeah." And like, "Oh, we can't drop because then if you drop it, you're gonna miss all sorts of stuff." And then they actually use the Force to land the shot. So, yeah, the NECA Vault was a joke for sure. Or sorry, was a joke for aliens. Yeah. Yeah, that I don't know. Not very exciting. I'm curious to see on the back end what they thought. I would assume you would, because I think they've done this when it comes to the, what is it? Was there a stupid thing they do? Target Con, Holothon. I would assume when you're doing something like this, you want to start off hot, end hot, right? So it's 4 weeks. You want your first drop to be a banger, 2 in the middle, whatever. Last one, a banger. That's what I would assume. Or maybe 1 and 3 are bangers, 2 and 4 or whatever. So I don't know why they chose those alien figures to start off with, but you know, is what it is. JB says, I still love the movie and I agree. Put the critique notepad down and enjoy Maverick and Rooster's mustache. Agreed. Patrick in the house. Good to see ya. All right. So the next one I talked about on last week's Hair Archer Live. We learned that Super 7 has lost the license to Disney properties. So let's listen in real quick.
In a little bit because of that.
Okay, well, Disney was
there's a chance as a whole, we are not moving forward with our Disney relationship.
Oh,
So
well, Disney was
Simpsons falls away in a little bit because of that.
okay. Well, Disney was the
there's a chance.
So this was on the Robo Don't Know podcast or YouTube channel. Brian Flynn was on there. They're talking all sorts of stuff. I actually suggest you guys take a listen to it. Mad Hatter called it out. I'm like, I feel like it's obvious, but a lot of people maybe don't realize it. This interview, there were no like hard questions. It's pretty straightforward. I continue to root for Super 7. I continue to bash Super 7. On my desk right now, Fallen Leader Optimus Prime review dropping this week. So excited for this figure. Sorry, I was excited to get it. Got it. Love it. Can't wait to show you guys the review. I want Super 7 to succeed. But it doesn't mean that a lot of us don't see Super 7 practices and question it and say, what are you doing? This is going to fumble. This is going to fumble. Somebody asked on last week's show, well, what Disney properties do they even have? So I pulled it up on here. And the Super 7 issue continues to be, in my humble opinion, the prices, right? So looking at the Disney stuff here, this was perplexing to me. The Disney Pixar Lightyear cat with the carrying case, $400. I would love to see somebody who bought that. If somebody can like message me, if you know somebody personally, not a reviewer, if you personally know somebody who bought this just cause, please let me know. Please let me know. The Ultimate figures, we have characters that are cool, hit nostalgia. By coincidence, casual nerd in the house, Josh. Somebody like Josh, he'd see these and be like, oh, that's cool. I'll buy that. I used to like that cartoon. But like $20 for a 3-inch figure? Hard pass. Hard pass. Ultimates, $55. Great for one-offs. Great for one-offs. But if you're wanting people to be buying waves, is the $55 price point going to get a casual person to buy the wave? No. Absolutely not. So all this stuff is going to be lost. It's gone. It's done. They're gonna just sell through it and we get no more. Now, what's funny is you may say, well, you're reaching. You keep saying the same thing over and over again. Where do you get that from? Where do you get that idea from? In the interview, Brian Flynn says, essentially, you need the casual shopper. Thank you, Rolando. He put it in the chat there. He highlights there, if you skip to, let's look for it. I don't even know why I'm talking as though I didn't take notes as 2 timestamps. Robo, don't know. All right, let's see here. Pretty sure it was not live. Maybe it was. Why is it not here? Oh, here it was. So he highlights that you need the casual person. This isn't something that you're like, oh, we're just going to appeal to the hardcore fan every single time. It's not how it works. Let's go to so I'm trying to think about time here. Thundercats.
Stop. So, anywho, yes, there's some cool surprises in store for this wave. I think you will be excited by it. I think one of them will definitely be like, oh, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah? Cool.
I did not think of that.
Cool.
And it makes complete sense. And I need that.
Yeah. Well, I'm very much looking forward to that, especially because from a, fan collector who really does like the Thundercats, it's like you guys with what Series 9 kind of came to a point where it's like we got, was it Wile E. Kid or Wile E. Cat? And that was like, that to me now considers that you have covered the core guys. And that's when, as you said, different versions of the core characters can help keep things, moving along. But then it's like, ooh, there's some wacky guys that I would love to.
There are some wonderfully wacky characters that we're definitely going to be making.
And this is where I think price point will, well, not just will, but has been the issue. If you're going to start deviating off of the main characters, you still need that random person to walk down the aisle and say, oh, that's from that show. Do I really need it? Do I really want that? But hey, it's cool. I never thought I'd have that. Grab it. The price makes sense. They move forward.
We planned it through Wave. I think we're tight through 12. I think 13 is still a little loose.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I'm going to keep it on the schedule until the numbers say that I shouldn't.
Yeah.
So I'm optimistic on 10. I really like what we've got in 11, but at a certain point,
he was talking Wave 10, Wave 11, by the way.
How many people are there for, that'll, if you think about it as an average of 4 figures per wave, how many people are still interested at figure 44?
Yeah.
Well,
it's not like it doesn't have a giant playset coming out for it at the end of the
It's not like there's the world's largest playset aside from the USS flag coming out. Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
And it's a glorious playset.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that people will still be running towards the cat signal, and because it's
I feel like we have now with that line, we have sort of a median base. That makes sense. It's like this is the amount of people that are in for everything. It's never going to get bigger, and it'll slowly get a little bit smaller, but kind of this is the size of it, and just plan for that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where we're at these days.
And I'm okay with that idea. The idea that you've identified the fan base, you identified you're not going to really grow it that much. So let's just appeal to that small fan base and make it make sense. But I also feel like that's not great business practice because you're capping yourself. You're immediately capping yourself. And I don't know, do I run my own business? No, I mean, I have this channel website, but I don't run like a multi-million-dollar business. If your group, if your target audience is this big, how do you price it in a way where that audience doesn't diminish at a certain pace? It's going to diminish regardless if you're only trying to hit a certain amount and you're not trying to get others. But where's the break point where all of a sudden you're accelerating or decelerating your loss? That's my concern. And that's where I'm not sure where it makes sense for them to put out another wave of, let's say, Thundercats, knowing that $55 is only going to bring back X amount. Because you're still paying your employees, the molds, the paints, the factory, the packaging, the designers, all that stuff. I don't know where it makes sense long term and why you're okay with that being the business model.
With Thundercats, because we are pretty far down the line.
Well, to your point, it's at an interesting spot because really, I think the only Ultimates line that is longer, that has more series out or pre-ordered now is Turtles, but Turtles is a completely different animal because, as you said, there's lots of turtle stuff going on out there. Thundercats is
there's a gazillion, but it's also, Thundercats is nowhere near
Yeah.
in the eye of the pop culture pantheon
Yeah.
that Turtles is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a very fine line.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to that, and of course, more Silverhawks and things. There are a couple other Ultimates lines that we haven't seen in a little while, and I think it's simply because it's subject of the production schedule and whatnot. But one that my brain's been coming back to a lot because I think we're getting ready to see more ship is the Simpsons, and I'm looking forward to seeing those. And one would reason that the way that history has gone is like, okay, we've had one delivered, it's time to see if there's another one on the schedule. How's stuff like the Simpsons going right now?
I couldn't tell there if he knew the Simpsons wasn't continuing or if he was excited about it, was reading Brian's face, and then said, maybe it's not continuing. Like if he did or he didn't. Real quick, JB's first comment. I think they could capture I think they could capture the fan base with main characters. They'll have a mold for one-off repaints or special one-offs. The whole Simpsons wave is background and one-offs. Yes. If they would have started with main Disney characters, I'd have a shelf right now with all of them. Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, Pluto, Donald, etc. Yeah. KO in the house. Good to see ya. Patrick says, having the main characters out initially would have had people already invested, and then they could pick and then they could pick and choose following waves. Yeah. But people would be interested in the brand too and the one-off characters. But people would be interested in the brand to add the one-off characters. Yeah.
Simpsons did not perform near as well as we had hoped.
Okay.
But doesn't mean we didn't have lots of plans for Simpsons. But as a whole, we are not moving forward with our Disney relationship.
Oh.
So
Well, Disney
Simpsons falls away in a little bit because of that.
Okay, well, Disney was
there's a chance that it may come back around, but right now we have very different views about what we believe is realistic for that customer base across the entire ecosystem of what we make versus what Disney believes should be made for that. And we just don't see eye to eye, and that's fine. Yeah, what's out what's been pre-ordered is sort of the end of that Simpsons line for now. It's not to say I don't have a...
And just to be clear as well, I don't put all of this on Brian. I will still blame Disney potentially, because I'm willing to bet maybe they increased the licensing costs. Maybe they were like, hey, we need a bigger cut of the pie. And Brian was like, can't do that. And they're like, all right, have a nice day. But I still believe this is part of the larger thing happening in the world of toy collecting, where, as you've seen in my previous Hasbro videos, I believe Hasbro will be moving away from making the physical toys, and they will rely on partnerships with Super 7 and McFarlane to make the figures for mass release. Hasbro will hold the licenses. They will choose, all right, Super 7, you will make this. McFarlane, you will make this, and then proceed. Over time, will Hasbro absorb McFarlane and Super 7? Maybe. But I think for now, Hasbro is going in the direction of holding the licenses. They are the ones that call the shots as to, all right, you're going to make Simpsons. And then Super 7 goes, all right, it makes sense for us. not that Super 7 owns the license. Hasbro grants them permission to use the license. I think that's the direction we're going. The last thing on this, again, I highly suggest you listen to this interview. Brian drops a lot of nuggets in here for sure. But let's go here.
The best time to get a
commercial. I'm using my other profile here. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. Skip.
Try to like backwards mask the video. What did he say?
Yeah.
The best time to get Reese's.
Look, damn commercials. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Or you'll have to like pixelate my mouth so they can't read it.
The movie magic of jump cuts, where it's just like we'll just cut it out and glue it back together.
It would just be more funny if it was just static and like beeps and stuff.
Yeah, well, maybe I bet you Robo will get creative with something like that. And
All right. Well, that'll be. It's not till a little later, anyways. So.
That'll be a good February conversation. Then as far as that goes, well, that's good because full steam ahead and everything's moving and 2024 is looking like it's shaping up to be as
they're talking about pre-orders there.
It's a different year. Obviously, 23 was a tricky year for a lot of people. I mean, it's always amazing to me. Not amazing to me. There's no reason people should understand this if you aren't in the industry, but also at the same time, amazing to me that like people that do collect all this stuff don't pay attention to what happened. They can't remember last year or the year before that or anything else when they're like, like, oh, this stuff's gone on clearance. Like, oh, everything goes on clearance. It's like, no, the only stuff that goes on clearance is stuff that was either over ordered or overproduced.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and just like right now, everybody's like, it's the same thing. It's like, oh, all this stuff is showing up at Ross, and it's not our stuff necessarily, but just
right.
In general collector product and everything. And like, I'll never pay retail again. I'll just wait for everything to show up at Ross. It's like, what you're seeing at Ross is stuff that was ordered 18 months ago.
Yeah.
18 months ago, it was hot. People were buying a lot more stuff. So the stuff that got ordered at the end of, Q2, Q3 of last year, no one ordered as much. So it will never make it to Ross.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm like, you pay so much attention to everything that gets made, but you never pay attention to, hey, did that pre-order do well? Did it not do well? Not pre-order or just even release. Did that go to a lot of shops or just a few shops? Where did it end up? How often does it end up there? And like the fact that it's just fascinating to me. We're on a random side tangent, but it's, it's something, we get from people where like, oh, I'm just going to wait for this next wave of Thundercats to show up on clearance. It's like, none of them are going to show up on clearance. The only stuff that showed up on clearance was stuff that was way overbought by a customer who then canceled their order, and we were stuck with extra inventory that we had to get rid of.
Yeah.
Like, we don't normally ever make any extra inventory, which is why it never shows up. Or everybody's like, or when somebody says like, no one buys their stuff, that's why it's on clearance. It's like, no, it's on clearance because that retailer bought too much stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then clearly all of these retailers are not idiots and they adjust their quantities. So then, it's a very finite amount of SKUs. It'll be like, here's 10% of everything we've ever made that has ended up on clearance that year.
Yeah.
The other 90% and everything coming after that's never going to be there. But I'm on a really weird side tangent here.
Well, I mean,
it echoes what we've all said. T3 has said it. Phil has said it. Legacy of Nerd has said it. I have said it. Everybody has said it. What we saw with the clearance stuff last year will not happen this year. All on the same page. All on the same page. But we have to remember what was the catalyst that pushed us to that point. Prices. prices. If not for those, we probably wouldn't have even noticed that Ollie's, Ross, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, that they were receiving stuff. It probably wouldn't have even happened. Segues us to this guy. The only reason a lot of us play the long game is we're starting to become priced out of collecting, priced out of lines, having to nitpick things. There is the larger issues in the world happening that are causing prices to go up, and buying an action figure is not a high priority item anymore. We used to have more disposable income 2020, 2021, beginning 2022, which is what led to us buying up all the stuff. As that depleted, now all of a sudden you have to more nitpick what you're spending your disposable income on, if you even have any disposable income. The reason we're waiting for the Rosses, the Ollies, TJ Maxxes, is because we literally cannot afford to buy the figures at full price anymore. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. And somebody who's testing our patience right now, Todd McFarlane, broke the internet last week in the toy space with the announcement of the McFarlane.com exclusive Superman Earth 2, part of a Build-A-Figure wave to build a monitor. And is it sold out? Tell me it's sold out. Or is it on McFarlaneStore.com? Let's see. If it's here and it wasn't on the previous one, that is ridiculous. It is. Wow. You don't even link. See, this is the basic shit that pisses me off. This is your job. This is your job. If I go to McFarlane.com and I go to the Superman action figure and it says unavailable, that should mean it's sold out. If it's still up for sale on the store website, it should link me to the store website. It's like you're trying not to make sales on purpose. On purpose. Anyway, clicking on this, which is essentially the same thing, $39.99. $39.99 for a pinned action figure for Superman with a cloth cape, potentially no wires, not sure, on a line that for the longest time was selling because the prices were still somewhat reasonable. Safe to say, most of us who bought McFarlane over the last 2-3 years were buying the figures because, hey, it's a figure, either it's a variant of a superhero I've always wanted, or the price point was low enough that, whatever, I'll give that a shot. I'll give it a shot. No longer. Testing the waters here. Now, he's already been doing this. Shout out to Uncle Tim. I've heard people talk about Uncle Tim for the longest time, and I never bothered to look him up. And finally, YouTube was like, suggestion, Uncle Tim. And I was like, oh, that's the guy. That's the guy they was talking about. He even highlighted it for us. McFarlane figures, the pricing, all over the place. $19.99 for an action figure. All of a sudden, this Batman animated series, $29.99, $32.99. All of a sudden, this one Superman comes out, not even Platinum Edition, $25.99. But then the Superman next to it, $19.99. All over the place. Toddy Mac needs to figure it out. Because this is not it. And shout out to JB for highlighting the Spectre here sold out. And it's most likely because some flippers are like, I'm going to just go all in on this figure. And I know that if people eventually want to build a figure, they're going to need this one, and this is the one that's hard to get. It makes no sense why the Spectre sold out, and yet these other ones are still there. Zero. Absolutely zero. Or Toddy Mac just did that on his own. Maybe he just did that on his own. Said, hey, buy the whole set. $135. You get a discount if you buy the whole set. 5 figures divided by 135. There you go. Do that. Don't buy one-offs. Buy the whole thing. Who knows? But this is ridiculous. Next, look at that. Gold label, $39.99. Gold label, $24.99. You have them right next to each other. Again, this is your job to sell. 2 figures, $39.99. One, $39.99. On the same page, another pre-order Superman, $22.99. What is the logic here? What is the logic? Make it make sense. This one is like the same shit, except it's a plastic cloth, plastic cape. Really? Really? What is the difference? Let's go side by side here. What is the difference between this Superman here and this one? I know there's like a different mold on the crotch piece, but really, what are we doing? What are we doing? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Fucking up on purpose. Fucking up on purpose. And you know, this is where we're coming from, where we say we're just going to wait it out. We're just going to play the long game. It's got to be extra for the Build-A-Figure. Doubt it. Doubt it, because again, 2 figures, 2 whole entire figures for the same price. Let's go to the next page. Look at this one. Whole different packaging. $29.99. Steel. Whole new mold. You can't even use that mold for anything else. $22.99. What? Oh, it's a case. You buy a sealed case. Interesting. He does that now. Build-A-Figure, $24.99. 24, 24, 24. Look how big those pieces to Mr. Freeze are. $24.99. Now. Toddy Mac, no. It baffling. You know, if you're gonna do stuff like that and you want to pretend like you're for the people, maybe make an announcement. Hey guys, Todd McFarlane here. Shit's expensive. We have no choice. We have to raise the prices, and we're gonna have some more price consistency between regular, platinum, and gold label. Here's what you're getting at the 3 different price points. Toddy Mac here. You guys have asked for cloth capes with wires in them. We tested it out on the Dune figures. You guys responded very well to that. We're now doing it in McFarlane, in DC. It's going to cost a little bit extra. Boom. But you already, the thing is, You already saw what happened with Star Wars, with Marvel, when it comes to raising the prices without telling anybody, and then, as the kids say, fucking around and finding out. All the Ross stuff, the TJ Maxx stuff, that's all Hasbro stuff because the prices increased, made no sense. We're out. We're out. Unless you're doing limited like quantities of things. For example, once again, as a collector, I have no issue paying $55 for a one-off. I'm buying this Optimus Prime. There's no desire or need to complete any kind of wave. It's just the one thing. That's it. Oop. Cyborg, my favorite McFarlane figure all time. What, $19.99, I think? If the rest of the Titans showed up on the shelves, which they did, and I skipped because of pricing, and also didn't like those molds, but if more animated Titans figures a la the cartoon showed up on shelves, but a more realistic view, would I buy them? Sure, at a certain price point. But if these start becoming $30, $40, nah, I'm good. All I need is Cyborg. My favorite character. We're good from there. So, I don't know what they're doing, but everybody's talking about it. It's not even like I'm conspiracy theory. Literally every toy collector on every live stream is talking about I'm starting to pick and choose what I buy. I'm getting priced out of this line. Et cetera, et cetera. So I wish McFarlane luck on that. As I mentioned, I think the licenses will start to work their way to Hasbro. Obviously not the Warner Brothers one because Todd he's partnered with Warner Brothers on that side of stuff. But you also have no hot Warner Brothers projects out there. So like, am I pumped to get an Aquaman figure? Like, are people like, oh, I saw Aquaman, it was great, I'm gonna go buy figures? No. So at the very least, keep the prices down to keep some interest in those properties. See what happens. And if it's DC's fault, then we'll blame them. But Toddy Mac's not saying anything. He's just dropping these figures, random prices. It's a lottery. See what happens. He will see what happens as well. $15 more was the price for the Mafex Hush re-release. Boom. $39.99. Get out of here. Pass. Yeah, Uncle Tim. I watched a bunch of his videos this weekend. Very entertaining. I'll say that's not bad. Sorry, I will say that's not a bad wave, and I don't pick up McFarlane. It ain't bad, but like, ain't bad doesn't justify $40. Exactly. McFarlane's going to learn that nobody will pay $40. Is the Earth 2 cape actually cloth? It is. Don't know if it's wired, but it's cloth. And yeah, he's done Build-A-Figures before. The whole Dark Knight wave was Build-A-Figure. Shitty Bane, but it was a Build-A-Figure. And $40 a pop. Imagine that. That, if anything, that's the figure line you tested on. A hot property like the Dark Knight. That's the one where you're like, all right, let's see if we'll raise it a little bit, see if people are down for it, but let's understand this is a hot commodity. The Batman animated series line. The Build-A-Figure of the last one with the cell shading was Captain Condiment or whatever. Tested out. He made it $30. I don't know. I see Batman and Robin peg warming quite a bit. People are buying Alfred from what I've seen because I have not seen him anywhere. People buy Scarecrow because that's a really good mold figure that every collector would need. But there's no need to buy Batman, Robin. Who's the other one in that? Batman, Robin, Scarecrow, Alfred. Freeze. Freeze is a good one because we don't have that version of Freeze already. So buying a new version of a character, maybe you get away with it. But if I've already got a Freeze, if I already had an animated series Freeze, I'm not spending $30 on that. You crazy? And Captain Condiment's not that guy. Sorry, not that guy. some people already paid. I see it selling. For which? Which figure? Frustrating. And I think it's frustrating because we all want these respective companies to like succeed. Like we want more figures and don't mind spending full price if it show like if they showed some sign of like, hey, we're trying our best here, maybe we would not have issue spending a little bit extra. But it doesn't seem that way. Waiting for JB to say which one he was talking about. He said some people already paid. I see it selling. Was it the animated series stuff? Anyway. Yeah. There's my toy rant for today. I suggest you guys watch that Robo Don't Know interview with Brian Flynn. Again, it's linked in the comments. I'll try to link it in the show notes afterwards. Rolando was nice enough to share that, so thank you, sir. It echoes a lot of what we talk about, but at the end of the day, they still have to see the other side of the coin, and I think all of these companies are failing to see that and understanding it. I feel like a lot of companies fail to understand the other side of the coin, but it is what it is. Currently on the channel, speaking of DC, I believe a new video has dropped from Anthony. I believe it was scheduled for today. Oh, I didn't. All right. We'll post it after this, but a new comic review is dropping from Anthony. They did a almost like what if for Batman Death in the Family. He picked it up. He reviewed it. Check that out. And then later on this week, we have the review of the Optimus Prime dropping. Stay tuned for that. It's a cool figure. And hopefully more unboxings coming down the pipe. But I really got to work on the Ghostbusters videos. That's really, I got to start cranking those out because we're getting closer and closer to the release of the movie. Oh, Rolando dropped the video? Let's see. Rolando, drop that link so I type in Rolando Flores and it never pops up. Let's see here. I'm going to wait for Rolando to drop that video. Link in the comments so I can click on that, share it with everybody. The comment. Let's see where you at. He did. Oh, Rolando's bombing out the videos. Wow. Hang on. Let me make sure I'm subscribed from this browser. Love the thumbnail.
Yo, it's Rolando, Utah Toy Hunter. We are in Taylorsville, Target. Let me show you. There you go. Yeah, this is a small Target. So hopefully they have some good stuff. Okay. So here we got a pile of LeBrons and Stephon Curry.
Jeez.
For sure it's going to be the majority of LeBron. Some Stephon Curry.
I got tired of Instagram jail for real posting too many pics.
LeBron James.
LeBron James.
Damn it. Okay, somehow we got cut off. All right, who buys these big ones? Come on.
Yeah, who does?
Drink them, melt them down, make some only 16 inches.
Alfred, there he is.
Oh yeah, that's a cool Batman. Never seen that one before. Blue and gray. Got Alfred. Oh. Aquaman packs. This.
Love it. Love it. But look at that. Rolando dropped all these within 2 days. Killing it. Killing it. Make sure you guys subscribe to Rolando, the Universal mod. I don't know how you're in every toy store and also every live stream at the same time, but you make it happen. And we appreciate you for that. He's all about that subculture, for sure. For sure. But thank you guys for being here. Thanks for watching. Fun show as always. As I mentioned, a new comic review will be dropping shortly after this live stream finishes. Later on this week, Optimus Prime review dropping here on the channel. And more importantly, Heritage Live every Thursday, 8:15-ish p.m. here on Nerd Affiliated. Every Monday morning, 9 a.m.-ish here on Nerd Affiliated. We have Nerdy Coffee. 2 different shows, 2 different vibes. Either way, you're stuck with this guy. It is the Rolando verse for sure. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to all you nerds in the next video as my nose seals up and becomes hard to breathe. Peace. We're out of here.
Wow.